Welcome back to V.O.C. YouTube channel. As you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking, is 12 teams too many teams for the playoff after round one and kind of how those games worked out, and now we're into round two. So I'm going to be talking about that, and then I'm going to look and make my picks for this round two of the college football playoff. Let's get into it.
Third down
Looking at the 12-team playoff, the first round I thought was very fun. The game at Notre Dame Friday night was an amazing way to kick off the new 12-team playoff. No better place to do it, in my opinion. It was electric. There was atmosphere. There were people there. It was stuff that I've never really seen before. Going on campus during the day and kind of being around it during the day, and then coming home and watching it, college game day, and then watching the game. It was just the atmosphere. It was fun. You know, Notre Dame came out and played very good, did what they were supposed to against Indiana. It made it fun. It made it like I would much rather watch this than the Cheez-It Bowl or the Pop-Tart Bowl, you know. So I think based off of that, 12 teams, I don't think it's too many, but it just shows how difficult it is to win a national title in college football compared to the other sports in college athletics. You have about your 5 to 6 teams a year that really have a shot, maybe less than that, 3 to 4 depending on this. This year it's a little bit more open. You probably have 5 to 6 teams that can really win it, and I think we have those 5 to 6 teams in it. So when you now add teams, the 14 playoff, there were blowouts then. So when now you expand to 12 and maybe 14, you're going to have these games. The games were bad, but I think it was good for the sport. Like I said, overall, it was very fun to see these games on these college campuses, to see the environments, to see how everything was moving and going. And just, I think we made a big stride in college football. It allowed the feeling of more acceptance, and anybody can do whatever they want to if they set their mind to it. They have a great year. They move forward. So it was very good. People are going to, it's quick to criticize all the teams that got blown out. You shouldn't have been there. You're embarrassing. You embarrassed yourself. You're a joke. You got outclassed. You should have never been on the. That's easy to do now, retrospectively looking at these games. But the same people that were saying that were saying, the right teams got in. So I think at the end of the day, that the 12 best teams got in for this year. Yeah, Alabama. They weren't Alabama. Miami, we watched them play in the Pop-Tart Bowl against Iowa State and lose. So, I think it's easy to quick and judge these teams like Indiana, losing 27-17, but the game felt worse than that. SMU losing 38-10. Clemson kind of fighting against Texas, and then Tennessee getting blown out. I think there was a quick jump to criticism with IU and SMU. And then with Clemson, there was like, they kind of reverted. And then with Tennessee, everybody was kind of quiet. So like I said, it's easy to sit here and say now, well, the 12 best teams didn't get in, blah, 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 blah. But it's stupid because you had the 12 best teams. It just happened that they got beat by 4 better teams. Now, Notre Dame was a better team than Indiana. They did what they were supposed to. SMU just imploded against Penn State. They don't throw the interceptions. Where are they at? Clemson fought. They just didn't have enough. And Tennessee, it wouldn't have mattered who Ohio State played Saturday night. They could have played an NFL team, and they probably would have won that game. They were playing with pissed off emotion, so it was fun to see. Now I think moving forward, we're going to see some upsets happen. I think this does kind of change the seeding a little bit. I think you'll have this now committee not really worry about a 3-loss team in the SEC per se. So I think what's going to happen is this year, we had all these teams get in with these records. Were they as good as some of these teams, or were their strength of schedule as good? No. They get blown out. So what you'll see is now we'll jump to the next conclusion, which is, all right, let's put a 3-loss SEC team in. And until that SEC team loses, it gets exposed, like the other teams, then it'll switch back. So you got to have this balance. So don't be surprised next year if a 3-loss team gets in, or a 2-loss team that didn't play in a conference championship game gets in over a team that maybe had 1 loss going in the conference championship week and lost. So I think it did help, but I think we're going to shift way too far, and then we'll shift back to the middle to get more parity. But it was just fun to see those games, the atmosphere. It was fun to watch games that matter when it comes to December, mid-December, late December. It was very fun, and like I said, I would much rather watch it than Duke's Mayo Bowl or the Liberty Bowl or the Grand Spakin Salami Bowl. Like, I would much rather watch those playoff games than those bowl games. All right, picks this week. Went 3-1 last week. Tennessee was a terrible pick. But I was like, hey, I think Tennessee maybe, they had the fans there in Columbus feeling good about themselves. Didn't really matter. So I moved to 23-25 in the season. Hopefully get above 500 this week. I think looking at these 4 games, like I said earlier, I think the best 5 to 6 teams got in, and I think that's Penn State, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, Notre Dame, Georgia. Those are the 6 best teams, I think, of the season. They're where they need to be out of 6 out of the 8. So moving on to the first game, which is Tuesday night, Penn State 12-2, minus 11-point favorite versus number 3, Boise State, who's 12-1. Boise State had to bye, haven't played in a while. It helps them with Ashton Jeanty getting some rest. I think this game's going to be tough because Penn State's defense played very good. Now, did SMU give them some stuff? Yeah, they gave them a couple picks that they shouldn't have got. But the defense is very good. They're physical. They get after you. I think Boise State's going to have a struggle to run the ball. I think it's close first quarter, first half, and I think Penn State pulls away. I think Penn State wins, and I think they kind of blow them out a little bit. I think this is going to be a tough game for Boise State to be in with their offense versus the Penn State defense. Not necessarily their defense versus Penn State offense. It's if you stop Ashton Jeanty or you can kind of control him, what can happen with the Penn State defense, who I think is very, very good. So I think Penn State wins, and I think they kind of blow them out. All right, looking at the first game Wednesday, New Year's Day. Number 5, Texas, 12-2, minus 13-point favorite versus number 4, Arizona State, who's 11-2. I think this, out of all the teams that the bye affected and hurt the most, it's Arizona State. Towards the end of the day, they were playing hot. No one could touch them. They were feeling good. They had their groove, their momentum. They knew who they were, moving forward, doing this and that, and dropping and going. Scataboo and dadaboo, and they were everywhere. Having the long break hurts them. Playing a team like Texas really hurts them, who Texas arguably has the best defense in the country. The offense isn't always there, but their defense is very, very good. This line has moved certain places from 13 to 11, 12. I mean, I think this is another game that's going to be a blowout. I think Texas wins. I think Arizona State having to sit hurts them. I think you have a Texas team that has a lot to prove. They've heard about Arizona State and how good they are. Arizona State's quarterback has been chirping a little bit with Quinn Ewers, saying, he's going to prove that he's just as good, if not better than him. I think Scataboo kind of, fades off a little bit. I think their momentum is stopped with that bye week. I think Texas wins, and I think Texas wins big. All right, third game, probably, arguably the most anticipated. There's 2 games that are really, really good in my opinion, 2 games that are blah. The Rose Bowl, number 8 Ohio State, 11-2, minus 2.5-point favorite versus number 1 Oregon. Oregon is the only undefeated team left, 13-0. This is a rematch from a game earlier in the season, which was kind of hectic. It was a very good game. It was crazy at the end for Ohio State, not having a timeout, running out of time, losing by 1 point. I think this game comes down to that Ohio State team shows up, that showed up against Tennessee. Oregon doesn't stand a chance. Now, do I think that team will fully show up? No, but I think Ohio State has a lot to prove. This game comes down to Ryan Day. How much do I believe in Ryan Day? Not a whole lot. I've called him a fraud multiple times. I think he gets in his way a little bit. I don't think he fully understands himself sometimes. He's a fake tough guy. But I think the motivation from losing to Michigan, dominating Tennessee, figuring out who they are, playing the way that they should be. Now they have another redemption with Oregon, a game where they could have won. Granted, Oregon's has gotten better from that point, but so has Ohio State. I think Ohio State wins this game. I think it's close. I think you're looking at late touchdown by Ohio State to win it. But I think they figured some things out in that Tennessee game. Will Howard with some confidence, looking good, pretty. I think Ohio State wins the game. Close, but I think Ohio State wins. All right, last game of the night and of the second round, the Sugar Bowl. Number 7 Notre Dame, 12-1. Versus number 2 Georgia, 11-2. Georgia's a 1-point favorite. It's a pick 'em. It's a very, very close game. Georgia's quarterback is out. Carson Beck not playing. Backup comes in. He looked very good against Texas. I could make the argument, and I will make the argument. They played better with him in that second half than they played with Carson Beck. Notre Dame played very well against Indiana. If they played the way that they did against Indiana, they'll have no problem beating Georgia. But this is easy for Kirby to motivate Georgia to say, everybody's talking about Notre Dame. Look how good they looked against Indiana. Nobody's talking about us. Nobody believes we can win this game. They haven't been here like we have. We're the SEC champs. That's what scares me in this game, is just the motivation from Kirby Smart. I've seen it time and after time again. And with Notre Dame, I've seen it time and after time again in these games. There's a lot of hype surrounding it. They don't come out and they don't play well. Now, has that changed a little bit under Marcus Freeman? Yes. But until I see it happen, it's very, very tough to just lead all Notre Dame. I think this game is close. They've played 3 times in the history. Georgia is 3-0, but every game has been decided by 7 points or less. I think Georgia's quarterback's ability to run the ball is going to hurt Notre Dame in a way that they haven't seen all year. Notre Dame's not faced a quarterback that can run and throw the ball dual threat. And it's not going to be the design runs that they're going to have a problem with. It's going to be the in-provision runs that they're going to have a problem with. When he needs to get out of the pocket and go, or it's not there, he goes. Riley Mills is also out for Notre Dame. This is a very tough game. But I believe I've seen enough in the Indiana game to prove they're going to be able to slow down an offense in Georgia, kind of control them on the line of scrimmage, even with Riley Mills out. And I think the offensive line and Jeremiah Love with Jadarian Price running the football is going to be able to work against Georgia. Now, I think this game is close. I think it is probably a field goal game. I think it comes down to that. I think Notre Dame's going to win the game. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be one of those games where by the time the fourth quarter hits or the end of the fourth quarter, everybody's going to be gassed. You're going to have to dig deep. I believe Notre Dame can dig deep. This is the best Notre Dame team I've seen in my lifetime of 25 years. I said that way back in the spring. I think there's something different about this team with Marcus Freeman. You kind of have this chance. You have the fuel. You have the defense. Xavier Watts in the back end. I said it last week. He's not going to allow Notre Dame to lose. He showed up in Indiana, both getting the interception and playing in the box, tackling and neutralizing the run game for Indiana. I think that's going to happen again. I think Notre Dame beats Georgia. I think it's close. Like I said, I think it's a field goal game, which makes me nervous with the kicking situation with Mitch Jeter for Notre Dame. But I just think that Notre Dame, this is their opportunity to win it. And I think they're going to. Close, nervous about it, but I think they are going to pull it off. I have to believe in my team, and I do. I think this is the year they can get over the hump. So I have Penn State beating Boise big, Texas beating Arizona State big. I just think both teams are overmatched. The bye week, Boise State's a little bit too reliant on Genty. Arizona State now cold from their hot streak. I think Ohio State squeaks out a close one against Oregon. I think it's going to be an all-time game. Notre Dame is why I think squeak us out against Georgia. Great games. I think we have 2 blowouts, 2 great games. Those are my picks for this week. Thanks for watching.